There's a moment that arrives quietly, often without announcement. You notice it first in small ways. The fatigue that lingers a little longer than it should. The muscle cramps that wake you at 3 in the morning. The inexplicable fog that settles over your thoughts, making simple decisions feel strangely difficult. You tell yourself it's just age, just the natural drift of time pulling you away from the vitality you once knew. But what if it isn't age at all? What if, hidden beneath the surface of your daily life, something fundamental is disappearing from your body? Something so essential that its absence begins to unravel the very architecture of your cells. This is the story of a mineral, one that most people have never truly considered. Not calcium, not iron, not the usual suspects that dominate health conversations. This is about magnesium, the silent conductor of more than 300 biochemical reactions in your body. The mineral that orchestrates everything from your heartbeat to the way your DNA repairs itself at night. And after 50, it begins to vanish. Not dramatically, not with warning signs that send you rushing to a doctor. It slips away gradually, like sand through fingers, leaving behind a trail of symptoms so subtle and so varied that they're almost never connected to a single cause. The medical establishment calls it subclinical deficiency, a state where your levels aren't low enough to trigger alarm bells, but aren't high enough to sustain optimal function. You exist in a gray zone, aging faster than you should, feeling less alive than you could, while the true culprit hides in plain sight. Consider this. Studies suggest that nearly half of all adults over 50 are consuming less magnesium than their bodies require. Not because they're careless, not because they lack knowledge, but because modern life has systematically stripped this mineral from the very sources where it once thrived. The soil that grows our vegetables is depleted. Decades of intensive farming have leached magnesium from the earth. The water we drink has been filtered and processed until it's nearly mineral-free. Even the stress we carry, the medications we take, the coffee we depend on to feel human in the morning, all of it accelerates magnesium loss, creating a silent cascade that most never see coming. Your body doesn't wait for you to notice. It begins making compromises. First, it pulls magnesium from your bones, the largest reservoir in your body, to keep critical systems running. Your heart needs it. Your nerves demand it. So your skeleton sacrifices itself slowly, becoming more brittle with each passing year. Then your muscles begin to suffer. Without adequate magnesium, they can't relax properly. They contract and stay contracted. Hence the cramps, the tension, the feeling that your body is somehow wound too tight, unable to surrender to rest. But it goes deeper still. Inside every cell, magnesium acts as a gatekeeper for energy production. It's required for ATP synthesis, the process that transforms food into cellular fuel. Without sufficient magnesium, your mitochondria, those ancient powerhouses inherited from bacteria billions of years ago, begin to falter. They produce less energy. They generate more oxidative stress. And slowly, imperceptibly, your cells age faster than they should. This is not poetic metaphor. This is measurable biological reality. Scientists have discovered that magnesium deficiency accelerates telomere shortening, the fraying of protective caps at the ends of your chromosomes that serve as one of the most reliable markers of biological aging. Every time your cells divide, these telomeres get a little shorter. It's natural. It's inevitable. But magnesium deficiency speeds up the process, like pressing fast forward on your own decline. And then there's inflammation, the smoldering fire that underlies nearly every age-related disease. Magnesium is one of nature's most effective anti-inflammatory agents. When levels drop, inflammatory markers rise. C-reactive protein increases. Interleukin-6 climbs. Your immune system, confused and overreactive, begins attacking your own tissues. This is how deficiency transforms into arthritis, into cardiovascular disease, into cognitive decline. Not overnight, but year after year, the damage accumulates. Perhaps most concerning is what happens to your brain. Magnesium plays a crucial role in neuroplasticity. Your brain's ability to form new connections, to learn, to adapt, to remain sharp and resilient as decades pass. It regulates neurotransmitters. It protects neurons from excitotoxicity, the process by which overstimulation damages brain cells. Research has shown that low magnesium levels correlate with higher rates of depression, anxiety, and age-related memory decline. That fog you feel, that sense that your mind isn't quite as quick as it used to be. It might not be inevitable. It might be reversible. But here's where the story takes a turn. Because unlike so many aspects of aging, unlike the genetic lottery we're born into or the decades of choices we can't undo, magnesium deficiency is something you can address. Not with expensive interventions, not with experimental therapies, but with simple, evidence-based strategies that work with your body's own wisdom. The question is, how do you know if you're deficient? Standard blood tests are notoriously unreliable for magnesium. Less than 1% of your body's magnesium circulates in your blood. The rest is hidden in bones, muscles, and soft tissues. You could have normal blood levels and still be profoundly depleted where it matters most. This is why doctors often miss it. This is why people suffer for years without answers. Instead, you must listen to your body's whispers. The signs are there if you know where to look. Muscle twitches that come and go without reason. Restless legs that won't let you settle into sleep. Heart palpitations that flutter in your chest like trapped birds. Headaches that arrive with tension, gripping the base of your skull. Constipation that resists your efforts. Chocolate cravings that feel almost primal. Your body instinctively reaching for one of the richest food sources of magnesium it knows. These aren't separate problems requiring separate solutions. They're threads in a single tapestry, all pointing back to the same fundamental deficiency. And then there's sleep, that mysterious third of your life where your body performs its most profound restoration. Magnesium is intimately involved in sleep regulation. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the branch that tells your body it's safe to rest. It increases GABA, the neurotransmitter that quiets mental chatter and allows consciousness to drift into deeper states. Without adequate magnesium, you might fall asleep, but you never truly rest. You wake unrest, as if your body spent the night working instead of recovering. Because, in a sense, it did. But let's step back and ask a more fundamental question: why now? Why does this deficiency become so critical after 50? The answer lies in a convergence of factors that all accelerate at midlife. First, your digestive system becomes less efficient. The stomach acid that helps you absorb minerals declines with age. The intestinal cells that transport magnesium into your bloodstream become less responsive. Even if you consume adequate amounts, your body struggles to capture and utilize what's there. Second, your kidneys, those tireless filters working ceaselessly to maintain your body's chemical balance, begin to lose magnesium more readily with age. It's a cruel irony. The older you get, the more you need magnesium, yet the less efficiently you retain it. What your kidneys once conserved, they now release. Third, medications accumulate. Proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux, diuretics for blood pressure, statins for cholesterol. Many people over 50 take multiple medications, often unaware that several of them actively deplete magnesium. The pills that are meant to help you live longer may inadvertently be accelerating the very aging process they're trying to prevent. And fourth, there's stress, the invisible hand that presses down on modern life with unrelenting pressure. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones trigger magnesium release from cells into the bloodstream, where it's then flushed out through your urine. Chronic stress creates chronic magnesium loss. It's a metabolic drain that never stops, slowly emptying your reserves. So what do? How do you reclaim what's been lost? The path forward requires both wisdom and precision. Not all magnesium is created equal. Walk into any pharmacy and you'll find a dizzying array of supplements, each promising optimal absorption, each claiming superiority. But the form matters enormously. Magnesium oxide, one of the most common and cheapest forms, has poor bioavailability. Much of it passes through your system and used. It may help with constipation, but it does little to replenish cellular stores. Instead, look for forms that your body can actually absorb. Magnesium glycinate, known for its calming effects and gentle impact on digestion. Magnesium threonate, which uniquely crosses the blood-brain barrier and may support cognitive function. Magnesium malate, favored by those dealing with fatigue and muscle pain. Each form has its own character, its own strengths. But supplementation is only part of the answer. Your diet must become a conscious act of restoration. Dark leafy greens, spinach, Swiss chard, kale, are nature's magnesium factories. Their green color literally derived from chlorophyll, a molecule built around a magnesium atom at its core. Nuts and seeds, almonds, cashews, pumpkin seeds, containing not just magnesium, but the healthy fats that help you absorb it. Whole grains that haven't been stripped and refined. Legumes that our ancestors relied on for millennia. Wild-caught fish. Dark chocolate. Yes, that craving was your body's wisdom speaking. And then there's water. Not just any water, but mineral-rich water. The kind that comes from deep springs, carrying dissolved minerals from ancient rock. Our ancestors drank from streams and wells naturally high in magnesium. We drink from bottles and taps that have been purified into near sterility. Sometimes progress removes what we didn't know we needed. Yet even with perfect diet and supplementation, there's one more pathway to consider. Transdermal absorption. Your skin, that largest of organs, can absorb magnesium directly. Epsom salt baths, essentially magnesium sulfate dissolved in warm water, allow the mineral to enter through your skin, bypassing the digestive system entirely. 20 minutes in a warm bath becomes more than relaxation. It becomes cellular replenishment. Athletes have known this for decades. Now science is catching up. The transformation doesn't happen overnight. This isn't a miracle cure or a quick fix. Rebuilding depleted stores takes time, weeks, sometimes months. But the changes, when they come, feel like awakening. Energy returns, not in jittery bursts but in steady, sustainable waves. Sleep deepens. Muscles soften their grip. The mental fog lifts, revealing a clarity you'd almost forgotten was possible. Pain diminishes. Mood stabilizes. You feel more like yourself, or perhaps more accurately, you feel like a version of yourself you haven't met in years. This is what it means to give your body what it's been asking for all along. The hidden mineral deficiency accelerating your aging after 50 isn't hidden anymore. You've seen it now. You understand its mechanisms, its consequences, its solutions. What remains is simply choice. The choice to act on knowledge, to treat your body not as something that's failing you, but as something that's been quietly struggling without the resources it needs. Magnesium won't stop time. It won't reverse every marker of aging, but it can slow the clock, can restore some of what's been lost, can give your cells the foundation they need to function as they were designed to. And in a world where so much of aging feels inevitable and unstoppable, that's more powerful than it might seem. Because you deserve to feel alive, truly alive, for every year you're given.